worst case situation, if the economy collapses and all, and you don't have some silver or something that you can barter with to get food or whatever you need, you're screwed, you know.
Hey everybody, it's Silver Seeker and welcome back to the show. Today I'm excited that we get to talk with Mike from River City Coin and Jewelry once again. Now I was at Mike's shop a couple of months ago and you guys have been asking me to have him back on, so I was glad I was able to find some time and drive down there. And yesterday Mike and I talked about all sorts of stuff. We talked about silver and gold, the importance of having silver and gold, CBDCs, the US debt, and more. So if you want to hear a lot about what Mike has to say on these subjects, make sure you stay tuned. Now, really quick, I want to let you know I did have some audio issues yesterday that I didn't notice until I got back to edit. So the audio quality is not going to be where it normally is for my videos, but it's not horrible. And the fact that we get to hear from Mike again definitely makes it worthwhile. So let's get Mike back on the show. But before we do, don't forget, we are at almost 100,000 subscribers. We are going to have our biggest silver giveaway ever when we get there. So don't forget to subscribe and check out this giveaway from today's video sponsor. Did you know that right now SD Bullion is giving away an entire sealed monster box of 2022 Silver Eagles? Yes, you heard that right. That is 500 ounces of 1 ounce Silver Eagles. They are giving them away right now. If you would like your chance to win, make sure you head to sdbullion.com/silverseeker or click the link in the description below. And thank you to SD Bullion for sponsoring today's video. So Mike, I want to ask you a very, very important question. I talk all the time about stacking silver, but regardless of the spot price, the premiums, and what it costs you to buy it, why is it important to just have silver?
Well, for one thing, silver is money. And I understand there's like a dozen different countries where silver and money is the same word. But silver has been money for thousands of years. And I don't think that's going to change in the next 1,000 years. So, you know, if in a worst case situation, if the economy collapses and all, and you don't have some silver or something that you can barter with to get food or whatever you need, you're screwed, you know. So, I mean, that's the main reason I got into this business out of the banking business, was because I wanted what money I made to be worth something down the road, you know. That's the reason silver is just it's a no-brainer. I mean, I see stupid, you know, all the time people say, oh, silver ought to be $800 an ounce or $150,000 an ounce. I'm like, that's kind of insane. I can't imagine that. But anyway, I mean, it's always worth what it's worth.
Right. So, I mean, $800 an ounce or $150,000 an ounce, at that point, the price becomes irrelevant, because when it gets there.
Well, the dollar ain't worth nothing, obviously, you know, and that's the whole point. And like just recently, the Chinese or the Saudi Arabians agreed to accept yuan, Chinese yuan, in payment for their oil,
right? Which
is displacing the dollar. You know, as a world's reserve currency. That's their objective, you know. And the day that that's accomplished, you'll see a 35-40% drop in the value of the dollar, a corresponding rise in the price of gold and silver. And I don't know what money or what denomination, you know, going to be quoted in,
right,
but the dollar is doomed, I'm afraid.
I tend to agree with you. And I don't know if you saw my video that I released yesterday, but I'm going to ask you a question for me. Just tell you something. So do you think digital currencies are a threat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the ultimate objective of the powers that be, is to be able to control every aspect of your life. And if they, if you have to use a digital currency and you don't have a physical currency to deal with, then they can disqualify you from buying guns, ammunition, I mean, whatever, you know. I mean, if you have to use their digital currency, they can control it. They know exactly what you spend, where you go, everything about you. I mean, that's all it is. It's a power thing, you know. And I don't trust digital, period.
Right. So could you imagine living in a world where they have that kind of power, where all the money that you have is just on your phone, and if the government doesn't like what you say or do, they can just limit your use to it?
Well, we saw what happened in Canada with Trudeau, you know, and the truckers, you know, denying them their ability to get they access their bank accounts, and people that actually come out and brought the food and what have you to these truckers that were striking, they slapped, you know, they locked their accounts up too, you know. Right. I mean, and confiscated. It's just insane. And like, we don't want to. There'll be hell to pay if they try to pull that shit here in America, you know.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's funny you brought that up, because they locked up bank accounts too. So that's not even really a digital currency. They just locked their access to their bank accounts.
Yeah. Well, You wouldn't believe how many people I've had come in here in the last couple of years saying, man, well, I couldn't even get $2,000 out of my bank, or whatever. It's like they're already limiting the quantity of cash you can withdraw for the most part.
So when you say silver is real money, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, money, the economic definition of money is a medium of exchange, a store of value, and a standard of value. That's the scientific economic definition of money. And silver fits all three of those categories. That makes it true money. Federal Reserve notes are just a medium of exchange, but they're not a store of value or standard of value because they're worth more or less every day.
Do you think the CBDC is something that could happen in America? Is that coming?
Man, there's a lot of things going on in America right now. I'd have bet $1,000 to a nickel that wouldn't be happening. So I don't know. I mean, I think anything's possible. I know they're working on it.
Right.
They're seriously working on it. And the Federal Reserve, for example, was established to maintain a level playing field, and for full unemployment, low inflation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they have failed miserably. And so, do you want these same people that have failed us historically and economically, coming? I mean, no, I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. And if they did go to digital currency, your currency, it's just a control thing, and a power thing is what it is, and it'd be the end of life as we know it, if they went to something like that.
Here's something else I want to ask you. The U.S. is currently $30 trillion in debt. Our deficit is $1.2 trillion. I mean, these are T's, not B's, T's. How does that even happen? So we went off the silver standard. You were around when we were still on the silver standard.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what happened and what you've seen since we've went off of that standard.
Well, silver went from a dollar to 3 or 4 cents. I mean, in silver money in 1968, when they took us off the silver standard, silver was X number of dollars, which today would be the equivalent of 40 or $50 probably. I mean, it's inflation is the main thing. And somebody said, in '82, they said, man, we first went off the gold standard, then we went off the silver standard, and then we went off the copper standard.
You mean when they switched us over to pennies?
yeah, the copper plated zinc pennies.
Yeah.
Said, no, we don't even have the copper standard anymore. I mean, that's and those same guys that brought us all that and all this inflation and all these problems we have, they're the same ones that should be in charge of the digital currency if there was such a thing. And of course, they're allowing the government is allowing the banks to manipulate, suppress, especially the price of silver. And so doing, the banks are making money coming and going, betting short or long in it, whatever, and then they're taking their profits from this and buying physical silver, putting it in their vaults because they know just a matter of time before it does bust loose. And when it does, who knows where it's going to end.
Where do you think it ends?
Oh, that's just it. I mean, that's $1 million question.
Right. No one really knows.
I got out of the banking business almost 40 years ago because I could see the writing on the wall that the dollar is going to collapse someday. And you don't want to be in dollars when that happens. And anything that's denominated in dollars, like, stocks and bonds and CDs and $100 bills, they could be worth nothing overnight.
Yeah. I actually got a comment on my channel from a guy who is he's in Ukraine right now. And he talked about how after the war, first started, right after Russia first attacked, the value of their dollar dropped and gold and silver are just so valuable over there right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you just look at the Civil War, when the Civil War broke up, all of a sudden the coins in circulation were just there weren't any.
Right.
They were using stamps, and then they went to postage currency and fractional currency because there's a lot of economic activity during the wartime, but they couldn't make sufficient coinage to keep up with demand, and people were using whatever they could, and they were hoarding silver and copper and gold, especially,
right.
Because who knows how this is going to turn out and what it's going to be worth at the end of all this,
Who knows how it's going to turn out and what it's all going to be worth when it's said and done. The golden question, isn't it? Guys, Mike and I talked for quite a bit more than this, so we will release a part 2 of this video. It took me hours to get this audio serviceable to be able to release the video to you guys, and I'm going to have to do it again for the next part of the video. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on part 2. And also, check out this video above me if you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and we will see you in the next one.